Good day, everyone. We are group 2, presenting common viral diseases of horses. Our first disease is equine sarcoid. Um, Positive agent niya is equine papillomavirus with bovine papillomavirus types 1 and 2, um, associated with the pathogenesis of equine sarcoids. Most common in horses less than 4 years of age and may occur singly or in groups, with a predilection for the head, ventral abdomen, and limbs. Sarcoids have a variable appearance and several different clinical types and have been described including occult, verrucous, nodular, fibroblastic, mixed, and malignant. Occult sarcoid presents as an area of hairless skin, generally roughly circular. Skin may be thinned or have a variably hyperkeratotic or roughened areas. One or more nodules, usually 2 to 5 millimeters in diameter, has a predilection for the skin around mouth, eyes, the neck, and areas with less hair. Verrucous sarcoid, yung characteristic niya is wart-like appearance. Lesions are alopecia and neither pruritic nor painful. Nagiging painful lang siya when there is secondary infection. Thickness and size vary. Small nodules develop in the hyperkeratotic area, and some may present a phagognomonic occult margin or halo. Predilection sites being face, axillae, groin, body, and limbs are rarely affected. Nodular anosarcoid, firm and well-defined subcutaneous masses, usually spherical with diameters from a few millimeter to 7 centimeter. Predilection sites are the groin and eyelids. More aggressive form, yung fibroblastic sarcoid, with a fleshy and ulcerated appearance, often covered by a cellular scab and possibly a secondary infection. Bleeding and serum exudation are common and can be heavy with trauma. Predilection sites are groin, eyelid wounds, coroneta, and diatal knees. Next naman is mixed sarcoid. Mixed sarcoid, based on the name itself, variable mixtures of 2 or more types. The face, eyelids, groin, and medial thigh or yung singit are predilection sites for mixed sarcoids. But mixed sarcoids can appear everywhere. Next naman is malignant sarcoid. Predilection sites niya lang is yung includes the jaw, face, elbow, and medial thigh.
So, yung disease na to is distributed siya worldwide. Tapos yung reservoir niya is yung mga equids. Kapag sinabi natin equids, ito yung mga horses, donkeys, asses, tapos mules, ganun. And yung transmission niya, yung most common route of transmission ng disease na to is direct contact with cattle, contaminated surfaces, and flies. Yung mga infected equids, pwede nilang spread yung bovine papillomavirus infection sa mga horses and donkeys through contact.
Tapos yung diagnosis na ba niya is based sa mga clinical appearance at saka sa presence ng more than one lesion na merong characteristics ng sarcoid. Tapos, isa pa sa diagnosis ng equine sarcoid is confirmed by histopathology. Kaya kailangan ng biopsy sample na partial o kaya naman excisional biopsy. Pero kailangan din i-consider yung risk ng exacerbation dahil sa surgical trauma. Tapos yung mga typical histopathological characteristics naman ng equine sarcoid include epidermal acanthosis, meaning yung pagkapal ng stratum spinosum ng epidermis, tapos hyperkeratosis, which means yung pagkapal din ng stratum corneum, yung outer layer ng skin, and then hyperplasia na pagtaas ng production ng cells sa isang tissue o kaya organ with long red pegs into the dermal fibroblastic tissue, which contains immature fibroblasts with mitotic figures in a whorled fibrocellular mass. Next slide po. And then sa treatment and control naman ng equine sarcoid, surgical excision, yun yung procedure na tinatanggal yung cell o kaya sample ng skin sa surface ng body. And then cryotherapy, paggamit ng extreme cold to freeze para ma-remove din yung abnormal tissue na usually ginagamit siya for treatment sa skin condition. And then chemotherapy, yun yung ini-inhibit yung cell proliferation at saka pag-multiply ng mga tumor. And then radiation therapy, paggamit ng mga high dosage ng radiation para mapatay yung mga cells at saka mag-shrink yung tumor. Tapos antiviral treatments and also yung mga immunomodulators na gamot ay iniiba or minomodulate yung immune system para mag-work ng effectively. Dito, yung mga treatments pwedeng tinataas or binababa yung immune response. And then, common sa equine sarcoid, yung pabalik-balik yung disease na to. Kaya, regardless ng treatment, and also, mahirap din talaga siyang gamutin. Plus, robust immune response that can be stimulated sa mga horses by injecting chimeric virus like particles of the L1 and E7 proteins of bovine papilloma virus 1.
Yung next naman na disease is yung equine viral arteritis or yung tinatawag na pink eye. Dahil sa clinical sign niya nga, na katulad na nasa picture is color pink yung sa eyes niya. Causative agent niya is yung equine arteritis virus or EAV. Economically important tong disease na to sa mga horses, lalo na sa mga nagbe-breed kasi possible na mag-cause, hindi possible, nagko-cause siya ng disease nagko-cause siya ng abortion sa mga mares and pwede ring maging long-term carriers yung mga stallions. Kaya maaapektuhan yung breeding program. Present siya worldwide and with the notable exception sa Japan, Iceland, and New Zealand kasi eradicated na yung disease na to, free na sila ng disease na to sa country nila. Pero merong mga limited data na nagsasuggest na yung disease na to is pwedeng mag-extend sa mga alcapas and llamas katulad na yung mga nasa picture na yan yung mga animal na to na nasa picture. And yung natural reserve nga is yung carrier stallion and mas matagal silang nagdadala ng disease na to compare sa ibang animals. Frequently highest din siya sa mga standard breds and warm bloods. Next. Yung equine viral arteritis, nagko-cause siya ng abortion sa mga pregnant mares. Nag-occur siya about 2 and 10 months ng gestation without premonitory signs. Nagkakos din siya ng respiratory illness, interstitial pneumonia. That's sa mga young foals. Hindi siya common sa mga adult na horses. Mas common siya sa mas batang horses. Yan, sa mga young foals. Naapektuhan niya din yung fertility ng stallions. Next slide. Meron pang clinical signs na makikita sa equine viral arteritis kagaya ng fever, depression, anorexia, leukopenia, dependent edema. Yung mga nasa picture na yan, yung mga limb edema sa may scrotal edema, periorbital edema. Yan yung ayan. Tas conjunctivitis, photophobia, mucoid nasal discharge, stiffness of gait, tsaka diarrhea.
So sa transmission naman, meron tayong 4 main routes. Ito yung respiratory, venereal, congenital, and yung indirect contact. Sa respiratory, ito yung inhalation ng respiratory droplets from infected horses. So sa venereal route, ito yung napapasa ng stallion yung virus sa mares during breeding. Or nangyayari din siya kapag nag-perform ng AI. Tapos sa congenital route naman, yung pregnant mare, na-infect niya yung foal sa loob ng tiyan niya na pwedeng mag-lead sa abortion sa death. Tapos sa indirect contact, ito yung mga transmission through contaminated fomites. Next. Sa lab diagnosis naman, ay nag-perform din ng virus isolation, antigen detection, sa serology. Next.
So next naman natin is treatment. So wala masyadong nakalagay na treatment dito sa EVA or equine viral arteritis. So ang pinaka-treatment lang talaga dito is yung supportive care. So there's no specific antiviral treatment currently available for equine viral arteritis. So ito lamang yung mga ilan sa supportive treatment, which is number 1, yung antipyretics. So yung antipyretics is non-steroidal or anti-inflammatory drugs or NSAID. So are particularly the non-selective cycloogenase inhibitors such as flunioxin, meglumine, and phenylbutazone, which are thorough inhibition of prostaglandin synthesis and release. So ang next naman natin na supportive treatment is yung anti-inflammatory drugs. So siya yung nakakapag-reduce ng inflammation, which is yung mga redness, swelling, or pain dun sa ating kabayo. Next naman is yung diuretics. So isa sa mga example nito is yung furosemide. Siya yung effective na pang-treat sa mga severity of EIPH in exercising horses, particularly yung mga race horses natin. Next naman na supportive care natin is yung good nursing care and yung gradual return to breeding activity. So next slide po. So sabi dito, no effective treatment para sa EVA-related cases, katulad ng sa pneumonia or pneumoenteritis in foals. So commonly, ang ginagamit kung wala talagang treatment is euthanasia. Euthanasia is warranted to minimize the risk of further spread of virus to any susceptible contacts, especially pregnant mares and young foals. So euthanasia commonly yung ginagamit na pang-treat para mabawasan or malasan yung pagka-spread nitong virus na to. Next. So dadako naman tayo sa prevention and control. Ang pinaka-prevention na pwedeng gawin is yung vaccination and sound management of breeding population. So yung EVA is manageable naman siya. Ang ginagamit din na vaccination dito is yung mga attenuated live and inactive vaccines. So available lang yung mga vaccine na to sa North America and sa Europe. And dito sa Philippines, ang pwedeng commonly na ginagamit para ma-prevent ito or malabanan ito, na which is sa vaccine, is yung RVAC. So yung RVAC is, example siya ng modified live vaccine. So tinuturok sila sa mga horses as early as 1 month nila. Next. So ito pa yung mga measures to prevent or control yung EVA sa mga breeding farms. So number 1 is yung identifying any carrier stallions. So kailangan ma-identify kung sino ba yung mga nagdadala ng mga sakit na to. Ma-separate yung mga carrier stallions, vaccinating non-carrier stallion annually, restricting breeding carrier stallions to EVA vaccinated mares or mares naturally seropositive for antibodies to EAV. Isolating mares bred with infective semen for the first time from EAV seronegative horses for 3 weeks. Then yung screening semen intended for AI use for virus, particularly if imported, so para maiwasan yung pagkalat. And observing sound management practices, especially of pregnant mares, vaccinating colt foals between 6 and 12 months of age to prevent possible development of a carrier state later in life. And under circumstances of intensive management and limited facilities, considering vaccination of all at-risk animals. So yan yung mga prevention na pwedeng gawin natin. Next.
Next naman is infectious anemia, which is caused by equine infectious anemia virus or EIAV. Next po. Yan. Equine infectious anemia is an important viral disease of equids. It is caused by retrovirus that is carried by infected animals for life. The virus is transmitted mechanically by blood-sucking insects. Kadalasan ito nangyayari kapag masyadong dikit-dikit yung mga animals sa isa't isa, or pwede rin through iatrogenic blood transfer. Equine infectious anemia is caused by equine anemia virus or EIAV, kagaya ng nasabi kanina. It is a member of genus Lentivirus in the family Retroviridae, subfamily Orthoretrovirinae. Isolates in different regions can differ, which can affect the accuracy of diagnosis by tests such as PCR. Infectious anemia virus is reported to infect all members of Equidae. Though, wala pang published investigation EIAV sa mga zebras. Usually nakikita lang yung mga clinical cases sa mga horses, ponies, and meron din sa mga mule po. Horses may develop acute clinical signs when first infected by EIAV, though some infections are subclinical. Milder cases may be limited to fever, which sometimes lasts less than 24 hours and can be accompanied by transient inappetence and other non-specific. Infected horses can be febrile, weak, depressed, and inappetent. And maybe also have the ventral pitting edema, thrombocytopenia, petty mucous membranes, epistaxis or blood-stained feces, and perhaps anemia.
For the distribution, the virus can be found worldwide. However, prevalence varies depending on factors such as climate. Sinasabi na yung equine infectious anemia virus is more prevalent in warm, humid regions where insect vectors are common. And control programs, regions with strict testing and control programs tend to have lower equine infectious anemia rates. Naman, meron tayong two types of reservoir, yung lifelong carriers and silent spreaders. Lifelong carriers, tinatawag sila na lifelong carriers kasi yung once kasi na ma-infect na yung horse ng equine infectious anemia virus, is habang buhay na siya magiging carrier nito, kaya pinoconsider din siya as natural reservoir. The silent spreaders naman, ito naman yung mga infected horse na hindi nagpapakita ng kahit anong symptoms. Sa transmission, meron tayong two methods of transmission. Ito yung blood-feeding insects saka iatrogenic transmission. Blood-feeding insects, sila yung primary mode of natural transmission. Example ng blood-feeding insects is yung biting flies, particularly yung horse flies and deer flies, and they act as mechanical vectors. These flies pick up infected blood from one horse and transfer it to another while feeding. Sa iatrogenic transmission naman, this refers to human-caused transmission through contaminated equipment gaya ng pag-share ng needles, syringe, surgical instrument, or even dental equipment between infected and transfusing infected blood product is another risk factor. Next po.
Sa diagnosis naman ng equine infectious anemia, ang internationally accepted serologic test is yung Coggins test or the agar gel immunodiffusion. There is increasing acceptance sa variety ng ELISA test or yung enzyme-linked immunoassay, which is commonly used sa laboratory test to detect antibodies in the body, either in competitive or synthetic antigen-based. Kasi nagpo-provide siya ng rapid result, pero yung ELISA test can give a higher rate of false positives. So yung all positive ELISA test result, kailangan pa rin siya i-confirm by Coggins test. So need pa rin ng combination ng ELISA and yung Coggins test para ma-provide yung highest level of sensitivity combined with specific. Yung problem with available serologic tests is they can give nga na negative result pagka na-collect siya within the first 10 to 14 days ng infection. Where areas na majority ng horse na infected ng EIA virus is 45 days and meron din na exceptional cases na nasa interval ng less than 90 days. Next is yung while clinical signs ng acute equine infectious anemia are non-specific and non-definitive ng disease, clinical diagnosis, kina-confirm siya by demonstration of antibodies to the virus in blood. Laboratory confirmation of a suspect cases ng EIA needs to be pursued without delay kasi nga yung mga infected ng EIA is forever na sila infected and carrier sila and makakapanghawa na sila. Next is next slide. Sa treatment and control naman ng EIA is no specific treatment pa rin siya to cure for equine infectious anemia. And there is no safe and effective vaccine na available for this disease. Without the benefit of prophylactic vaccination, recommended pa rin na yung host owners implement an EIA control plan for their premises. More frequently, yung testing niya is indicated sa areas that previously experienced a high incidence of EIA. And pagka lumalaban din yung mga horse, need din ng certification na or clearance na EIA. So yung pag nag-introduce din sa herd should be negative EIA test then before arrival or be isolated pa rin while tests are pending. Yung confirmed cases ng EIA are lifelong carriers nga sila ng virus and they are usually euthanized. And yung alternative ng euthanized is yung permanent isolation and quarantine sa mga infected areas na distance at least 200 yards from all other equine or equids on premises, and advocating supportive care under such circumstances is irrelevant. Next is avoidance of iatrogenic transmission of the virus and implementation of vector control practices should be a part of any EIA prevention and control program. This should include routine applications of insecticides and repellents, as well as the implementation of insect control measures. The EIA control plan, prevention pa rin, prevention and control of EIA is based on identification and euthanasia or lifelong isolation of infected equids.
So, ayun po, moving on po for our fourth viral disease, which comes from the genus Flavivirus. We have the causative agent Flaviviridae. So, sa genus Flavivirus natin, which also contains the Zika virus, or yung mas known naman na noticeable disease naman na nanggagaling dito is the dengue virus, and also the yellow fever virus. So, in humans, yung West Nile virus infection is considered as a serious zoonotic disease. So, malalaman natin kung bakit. Also known as West Nile encephalomyelitis, or this is primarily transmitted by mosquitoes and is characterized by central nervous system dysfunction. So, inaatake nito ang CNS, so yung central nervous system natin, kaya, or ng horse natin, kaya it is very fatal. No, alam naman natin as future doctors na if ang disease or ang virus ay umaatake na sa central nervous system, doon sobrang fatal niya na, so which can lead to death na. As I said nga kanina, encephalomyelitis, ito yung inflammation in the brain or in the spinal cords na fatal nga sa kahit ano namang hayop. So if ang horse natin nag-survive sa disease na to, it can result pa rin sa prolonged signs of disease. No? So the effects of West Nile virus in horses range from mild to flu-like signs to inflammation of the brain, or which we called West Nile encephalitis, which can be fatal nga. Some infected horses show no clinical signs to recover without intervention. So the equine case of West Nile virus in Saskatchewan, the first equine case of West Nile virus in Saskatchewan occurred in 2002. So most likely kasi sa case natin itong virus ito is from US. And noong 2002, it was recorded to hit more than 15,000 cases. But it has been declining naman since that incidence. Syempre no, sa tulong ng availability and increasement of use ng ating mga vaccines, and also increased awareness of the need na to control the mosquito population. So sobrang halaga talaga ng biosecurity and also prevention na ma-prevent tong pangyayari na to. So it's good na na-prevent to, and no, ngayon wala na siya masyado ngayon. Unti na lang yung nare-record na cases nito. Most likely na siya sa West. Next po. So, we have naman po sa clinical signs. So, ito po, the first signs of this disease may be general. So, hindi po agad lumalabas yung neurological signs nito. So, alam naman natin na general muna yung papakita ng ating horses. And it includes signs of discomfort, anxiety, lameness, low-grade fever, listlessness, weakness of limbs, loss of appetite, and depression. Ayan yung mga unang ipapakita ng ating horses. So, after that, if nag-evolve na yung viral disease na sa horses natin, magpapakita na siya ng neurological signs. Nag-include ng muscle twitching, inability to swallow, irregular gait, muscle contraction, impaired vision, or most likely doon is yung mga horses natin, nagkakaroon ng nagiging sensitive sila to sights, to sounds, or even touch ng mga veterinary or ng kanilang amo, ganyan. So, once na complete na yung paralysis and convulsions, nag-develop na siya hanggang sa one or more than one legs, no? Yung horses natin nagde-develop ng neurological disease na up to 30% case fatality na nag-lead nga sa death, and another 10% to 20% recover, pero we have residual neurologic deficits na. So, yun nga, kapag alam naman natin if CNS na yung natamaan, most likely na yung meron na tayong long-lasting neurological problems, pwedeng hanggang sa pagkamatay na nito or throughout their lives na ng animals natin. So, this viral disease, nagre-resemble din siya sa other reportable or notifiable diseases such as rabies, kasi nga, same nga na tinatamaan yung central nervous system ng ating mga hayop or ng ating horse. And other, which is, yun nga po, moving on po sa next slide.
So for the distribution and reservoir, West Nile virus is a mosquito-borne disease that affects horses in Canada. It was first reported in 2003 and has been found in both eastern and western regions with varying patterns of distribution. The virus is primarily transmitted through mosquitoes that feed on infected birds, which act as a reservoir host, and horses are considered dead-end hosts, meaning they cannot transmit the virus to the other horses or humans. So, in horses, the primary reservoir for West Nile virus is birds, especially the passerine birds. Mosquitoes spread the virus from birds to horses, and West Nile virus can cause inflammation in the brain and spinal cord of the horse, leading to various symptoms like weakness, paralysis, fever, and even death. Next. So for the transmission naman, West Nile virus is primarily transmitted to horses through the bite of infected mosquitoes. Mosquitoes become the carriers of the virus after feeding on infected birds, which act as a natural reservoir for West Nile virus. Once a mosquito carries the virus enters the horse bloodstream, where it can multiply and potentially cause inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. While many horses infected with West Nile virus may not show sign of illness, and some can develop neurologic disease. Next po.
Now, for the laboratory diagnosis of West Nile virus in horses, the most reliable test for clinically ill horses is the immunoglobulin M antibody culture ELISA, which can confirm recent exposure to the virus. This test detects the presence of IgM antibodies, which are produced by the horse's immune system in response to a virus infection. And next, finally, to the treatment and control of West Nile virus in horses. Next slide. Unfortunately, there is no specific treatment for this virus. Therefore, the primary goal of treatment is to provide supportive care for clinical signs such as fever, weakness, and neurological symptoms. Anti-inflammatory drugs, including nonsteroidal drugs and corticosteroids, may be prescribed to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Serum or plasma products containing antibodies to the virus can also be given as part of the treatment. These products are derived from the blood of horses that have recovered from this virus infection, and they contain antibodies that can help neutralize the virus. However, they are expensive and not always readily available, especially here in the Philippines. It's also important to note that 30 to 35% of horses who die from West Nile virus infection are humanely euthanized because they do not respond to treatment. This highlights the importance of prevention, which includes vaccination and good environmental management. So, in conclusion, the West Nile virus is a very fatal disease, which is why it is highly recommended to vaccinate horses annually, especially in areas where the virus is endemic.
For the last viral disease will be discussed by Chisa.
So, equine influenza or simply equine flu with the causative agent influenza A viruses. Next slide. So, equine influenza viruses are common cause of acute respiratory disease in horses and other equids, with influenza being the most important cause of viral respiratory disease in horses. Equine influenza viruses spread very rapidly and cause infections with high morbidity rate 24 to 48 hours after ng infection and rare or low mortality rate naman, but prolonged fever in pregnant mares may result in abortion. Then, causative agents are equine influenza A viruses under the family Orthomyxoviridae. So, nagko-compose ng mga subtypes yung equine influenza A viruses since nag-undergo sila ng antigenic shift and also antigenic drift. Age 7 and yung unang causative agent mainly is the age 7 and 7 subtype of influenza A virus or the equine influenza virus 1. Siya rin yung cause ng outbreak in 1979 sa Italy, but this subtype ngayon no longer circulates in the equine population or extinct na siya and wala nang reported cases of infection sa equine sa subtype na ito. The next, age 3 and 8 subtype or the equine influenza virus 2. Next slide. So, equine influenza viruses are highly contagious. They spread rapidly by infectious exudate that is aerosolized by frequent coughing, and the virus is excreted during the incubation period na as short as 24 hours up to 3 days. Horses remain infectious for at least 5 days after clinical disease begins, and close contact between horses facilitates rapid transmission. Fomites such as contaminated clothing of stable personnel, equipment, and transport vehicles may also contribute to virus dissemination. For susceptible horses naman, horses age 1 to 5 years old, lalo na kapag naka-house sila in large groups, and at risk din yung mga equine populations that are moved frequently, such as race horses, breeding stock, show jumpers, and horses sent to sales. Also, nagiging immunosuppress rin yung mga horses during traveling or training na pwedeng mag-cause ng increased risk of infection or mas magiging severe yung effect ng virus or infection. Next slide, for the pathogenesis and pathology. The virus mainly replicates in epithelial cells of the upper and lower respiratory tract of susceptible horses. Meron ding mga horses na asymptomatic, immune sila, and hindi magkakasakit, pero pwede pa rin makapag-replicate yung virus sa kanila and then mag-shed na pwedeng maging source of infection ng ibang horses. So there are factors that contribute to the innate resistance of horses, such as the mucous blanket that protects the respiratory epithelium, and the continuous beating of cilia that clears virus from the respiratory tract of horses. Then the soluble lectins, a class of protein na yun nga has a role for the innate immune responses against pathogens. Specifically ngayon, yung influenza A viruses. Then lung surfactants, complex substances naman ang mga to na naturally sinisecrete ng lungs, and shallow glycoproteins. Also, alveolar macrophages that are actually the most abundant innate immune cells in the lungs. Secretory immunoglobulin A is proposed to be the most relevant antibody in the upper respiratory tract, but yung mga serum-derived antibodies also provide protection. The next, laboratory diagnosis. Next slide. So yung sa laboratory diagnosis naman, yung clinical diagnosis sa mga acute cases, madali and mabilis lang siya. Pero sa mga horses na may influenza virus pero mild lang yung sinushow na symptoms, mas mahirap yung diagnosis since it has to be differentiated with other respiratory infections, including those caused by equine herpes virus, equine rhinitis viruses, and iba pang mga respiratory disease-causing bacteria. Then nasal or oropharyngeal swabs yung usually pinagkukuha ng sample, and specimen should be placed in a virus transport medium. For equine influenza viruses 2 or age 3 and 8 viruses, they can be grown or replicate in 10-day-old embryonated eggs. Then ginagamit din yung RT-PCR assays mainly for laboratory diagnosis ng equine influenza viruses. Next, last, for the treatment, prevention, and control, next slide. There is no treatment for equine influenza and more on supportive therapy lang siya gaya ng sa mga na-discuss kanina. If may fever na more than 40 degrees Celsius, usually is NSAIDs ina-administer or yung non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. If may nasal discharge naman, nagbibigay din ng antibiotics. And important din yung rest sa mga infected horses. Usually at least 6 weeks yung rest na nire-recommend for infected animals. Then available naman yung vaccination for prevention. Vaccination of equine influenza is common or extensively practiced in influenza virus and zoonotic countries. Inactivated vaccines are also used pero may concern sa mga vaccine na to since they cannot provide a protective immune response for foals with maternally derived antibodies or maternal antibodies transferred from mother to child. To solve this or as a recommendation, vaccines should be withheld until at least 6 months of age ng mga foals. Also, lastly, importante rin yung regular cleaning and disinfection ng mga equipments and transport vehicles sa farm for protection and prevention of infection, lalo na yung possible equine influenza outbreaks. Yun yung para sa control. For the next slides po, we have the references. References na ginamit namin, and that's all for our report with the topic equine viral diseases. Thank you po.